Who's going to stop The Rock from having 2 wives?
His own moral judgment.
What use
He's
is that if you have
Hawaiian.
money?
He's Hawaiian.
Samoan.
What
Isn't
is
he from-
being...
He's
so if you're
Samoan.
Hawaiian, you can't be
I
moral?
thought he was from Hawaii.
No, he's from Samoa.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I don't know. That doesn't check out to me. I feel like I
Hold
heard.
on.
Maybe he
I'm-
maybe he lives in Hawaii.
I'm still caught up on
He
the
might
fact that
live
I
in
said his own moral, like, code would keep him from having 2 wives, and you were like, but he's Hawaiian.
No, I was saying because he's Hawaiian, he wouldn't have morals. All of our Hawaiian
I'm
fans.
kind of wrong. He's half black Nova Scotian and half Samoan.
Oh, okay. I see why you say you're kind of wrong.
Yeah,
I was
his
just
mother,
like,
his mother was Samoan.
I get it. So you're saying I'm wrong, and you're just like I'm kind of wrong. You can't even just say you're wrong.
I'm not fully wrong though. He is
You're
half
right.
Samoan.
No, you're right.
I'm
You're
still
right.
caught on the fact that you don't think Hawaiians can be
If you would just
moral.
let it go, maybe people would forget that I said it. How about that? This is why I get canceled, is because
You
I
can't
say
be-
something that's not appropriate, and Zach just keeps it going, keeps bringing it up in discussion.
So yeah, he's American
3 days later,
Canadian.
remember how you told us that all Hawaiians have no morals? Yeah.
Oh my god. So
did
everyone
I think-
everyone knows that his dad was a pro wrestler before him.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, his mother is the adopted daughter of Peter Maivia, who was also a pro wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
This dude has pro wrestling all through his veins.
Yeah. That explains a lot of why he's so muscular, though.
Yeah,
I mean, other than the
he's-
fact that he also works out more than I do.
But like
anything
you,
in
me,
life.
or Zach could never get to his size because he's also really tall.
well, yeah,
isn't he?
Well, yeah, but also you can't.
And on top of that, it's not easy to build that much muscle when you're that tall. Like,
Well, it also depends on genetics too.
well, yeah.
Like genetics. Look at me like sound like I know anything, but
I'm sure you've looked up quite a bit of it.
yeah, genetics.
Ryan
like-
was seeing if he could actually get surpassed
Also-
him.
Actually, I think so. It also depends. Like a lot of how you're built depend. It doesn't matter like what your weight is. You can tell a lot by just like how you take on weight and what you
Yeah.
look like with all. Even if like you're super big. Now there is a point if you're like 800 pounds, it doesn't matter. You're not gonna be able to tell. But they're like some people like you can tell they have like a built to them, like how like, their muscle or their bone structure is built. That they, excuse me, that they are built to be like to be that way. So,
But
also
on the
depends,
flip
like,
side,
on your genetics.
if anyone ever tries to claim that The Rock is fully natural, I'll call you a liar.
No, that dude definitely takes steroids.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says.
No one gets that big without them. The big way
that's
you could tell is
possible.
the shoulder muscles. It's really hard. It's like insanely difficult, other than genetics, to fill out your shoulder muscles unless you use steroids.
But it also, well, that's true. I'm trying to tell myself that I'm wrong when I say he does steroids, but
I don't know why you
he
defend
does.
It's one of those things where
I think he's even admitted in interviews. He's
Has
admitted
he?
some of the stuff he's used.
Well, back then when he was in wrestling, like
He
I mean,
couldn't.
the-
Technically couldn't.
well, back when he was in wrestling, back then they were on.
and
they
he
wa-
wasn't even
it was
that big
originally-
back then, was he?
No, it was after he became a full-on actor.
And in acting, they don't care.
Yeah.
They do drugs.
well, yeah.
It's
They-
actually encouraged
they
in some
don't care.
circles.
man, I really hope that they don't strip his titles for cheating in the WWF.
If he has titles, it's because he was scripted to have the titles.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, boy.
Zach, I'm so sorry. I have to be the one to tell you.
Trust
It's not-
me.
Did they strip?
Donald Trump is actually not a good wrestler. Just know that he didn't just come onto the wrestling match and be good enough to fight.
You
some of
know,
the
you want to know
wrestlers.
who my favorite
Are,
former
are you
wrestler
kidding me? That's the
celebrity
reason
is?
I voted for him.
Well, but- looks like it wasn't strong enough this time. What?
You want to know who my favorite former wrestler celebrity is? Chris Jericho.
Why Jericho?
Do you know him?
I know
His
the name.
Wrestling.
Yeah.
Do you know what he went on to do after wrestling? Started a band, and they initially were named Fozzy Osbourne, and they were an Aussie cover band, but they've since just dropped the Osbourne and just call themselves Fozzy, and they are a legitimately good hard rock / metal band. Highly recommend listening to them.
Good, because no one. Look, you should never stay in wrestling. In fact, you shouldn't even watch the WWE
Why not?
or anything anymore. You shouldn't.
Why?
Vince McMahon. Well, I mean, it's on record a lot of how crappy Vince McMahon has treated those wrestlers.
Or some good gifts
he
online.
makes good. Yeah, he makes good gifts. He makes very good money off of those people that die at age like 46 from all the damages. And it turns out he doesn't really provide any help to them afterwards, and he doesn't really work on creating safe working conditions in the situation that they're in. Like, wrestlers are practically stuntmen, stuntmen and women, and at least they, like, from films, there's some bit of safety for them. In wrestling, that's all out the door.
Unless you're Mila Jovovich stunt double on a motorcycle, then you're kind of thrown to the wind.
Yeah.
Do you know that's?
I don't know the context.
Stunt woman for Mila Jovovich was doing a motorcycle scene for a Resident Evil movie.
She died.
No, she didn't. She survived.
Did she?
Yeah. You're thinking of the stunt woman from Deadpool.
Oh.
She was. They had finished their shooting for the day, and I think one of the directors wanted to do one more shot that they didn't prepare for, where she would drive her motorcycle under the camera as the arm. I'm doing hand motions like the audience could see, where the camera would lift up and point down as she went under it. And they didn't prepare for it. They didn't do any slow speed testing or anything like that. They just went for it.
Oh, no.
And the camera arm didn't lift in time. And because they were doing, they don't wear helmets in movies.
Yeah.
She slammed face first into it and degloved half her face. Ow. And I think broke a bunch of bones.
Yeah, okay. This is not the person I was thinking.
Yeah, no. And so she's recovered at this point. I forget what her handle is, but if you look that up, you can find her on Instagram and stuff like that. But it ended her career.
Well, yeah.
And she had to go through a lengthy legal battle to get any money at all.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's every lawsuit.
That's Hollywood.
But yeah, that's definitely one of those things where, like, at that point, because of that incident, like, I'd be afraid to do any kind of stunt work again. So, like, even though she probably still has the skill and still could do a bunch of those things, like, are you ever really going to be able to do it again?
Yeah.
Like, are you going to be able to make yourself do it?
It's tough. And I mean, and then you see things like what we were talking about, the Deadpool one. I forget the circumstances of how she died. How did it happen? It was a motorcycle stunt. I think she was the stunt double for Domino.
I'm trying to think. The scene.
She hit something, didn't she?
Yeah. Well, she hit something. If I remember correctly, she hit something, and the way that the bike, when she collided, because it was during the I'm trying so hard to think about what the scene was from Deadpool, because it was from Deadpool 2.
Well, from the second one.
Basically what happened is, like, the bike she hit the way the bike had hit, she nose over it, and it, like, went flying. And
on August 14, 2017, stunt rider Joy Harris died while performing a stunt during Deadpool 2. The stunt involved driving a high-powered 900cc Ducati motorcycle down a ramp on a flight of stairs, but Harris lost control of the motorcycle and crashed into the side of a building.
Ooh.
That sucks.
Yeah. I don't know what it was. The way she hit that, like, where she hit, if I remember how they explained it, there was, like, several ways that she could have avoided where she hit. Like, she just happened, like, something happened.
I'm wrong. She didn't fully recover. The Resident Evil woman, she had to have her arm amputated.
Wow. There you go. Well, the woman from Deadpool 2, like, the way she came down the steps, and, like, you know how, like, when you're coming down the steps, like, you got to hold on to the handlebars or it's going to shake. Well, it shook just enough and I guess she was going fast enough that when she shook, she hit, like, one of the ends of the stairs, and it sent the bike flying, and she flew and smacked basically right into the side of a building. I'm not laughing because it's funny.
So effectively, it was perfect situation. The odds of that happening are super small.
It was just one of those things that, like, but it's also, I don't know. The way it was explained to me, or the way I took the information, the way it was explained is that it could have been avoided. It was just one of those things that just, if you're not looking for it, which you never are, because out of all the things that could have happened, it was the one thing you wouldn't be thinking about when there's explosions and things.
I should say it because I found the article. The stunt woman for Resident Evil was Olivia Jackson, and you can find pictures of on her Instagram of, like, post injury and stuff like that, and what she looks like now, which is she looks fine. These other than the missing arm. But on Instagram, she's Olivia the Bandit. And yeah, it ended her career.
Those are one of those people that I hope that I really, really hope that prosthetics become one of those things where they can kind of be a little bit better with.
There's actually some really cool technology that I thought it was going to be more complicated than the solution ended up being, but they have like strips of fabric that have wires going from one end to the other, and as you stretch it, it changes its resistance. And what they've done is they've put them in certain areas along your arm for amputees. And when you go to like move your hand, it'll move a bunch of different muscles like up higher in your arm. And they're starting to be able to figure out where exactly they need to place these so it's non-intrusive and you can still control an arm.
Have you ever looked?
That sounds like kind of like and I guess it works that way, is kind of a middle ground between being able to just detect the brain signals for it.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's not that far away.
Well, it's not. Have you guys looked into anything like with prosthetics recently?
I absolutely love the idea of getting into prosthetics one day.
So
like it's having them or use or
getting into working with them.
Oh, okay. Not having.
Well, no, I mean, it just happened to pop up because recently they released a dev kit for VR headsets where it's this device that just clips onto the back of your VR headset, completely wireless. But from where it is on the back of your head, it can detect where your eyes are looking. And actually, like, if you focus on something, it will click, like, you can click on it. It's crazy. There was a video of a guy.
Weird.
Yeah, it's crazy. But they were looking into using that in some way. If this device can detect that, maybe what's possible is they can mix that with what you're saying, the muscle sensors to help your brain, like the signals of your brain would be detected to go down to the prosthetic itself. And now there's nothing that needs to be inserted. It would just react.
Well, I think the end game is to have it be a chip that gets put like maybe under the skin of your scalp or something that you never have to
if you ever look at like
replace or anything.
If you ever want to go down a rabbit hole that'll just intrigue you, look at anything that involves like bioscience or bioengineering.
Yeah.
Bioengineering, like the things that people are doing are unbelievably fin. Well, I told you this, the guy that lived here in Pittsburgh that I got to go to his little underground setup when bioengineering was starting to become like a big was an underground thing. Yeah, there was this dude. I'll try to find his name and then I'll send it to you. You can put it in. But he ran when I was in college. I was working at like a convenience store, and this guy walked in and he had this like black box thing underneath his skin in his arm, and I was just like, what is that? I was like, I gotta know. I was like, what is that? And he went on this spiel. He's like, oh yeah, I built this and I put it under my own arm. I'm like, I feel like this is about to, like, this sounds like this is gonna get illegal. But he's like, yeah, like with this can help detect like my heart or my heartbeat and how like my blood circulation's going, and it sends it all to my phone. And I'm like, who are you? What are you? And I explained it. I was like, well, I'm going to school for IT and everything like that. And he's like, well, you should come down to like our shop and just see what it's about. Meet all of our crew and everything. It felt, honestly, I don't know how I didn't get murdered. I don't know how.
One of your stories involve that. Is some random person inviting you to somewhere and you're just going?
Well, that's the thing is like, first of all, I go out like past, where Swickley is?
Yeah.
Like out past Swickley into a random, in the middle, like pretty much like the middle off-road of the woods in this, what looks to be a garage. But I get there and I walk in. And originally what he asked me to do is like, if you know anything about Linux, maybe you can we want to build like a Linux, like Active Directory here in our shop. And I'm like, well, I'll try. By the way, I didn't even take the Linux class yet. So I'm bullcrapping my way all the way through this.
Already marketing.
Yeah. But so I just walk in and they're like showing me all the things they're working on. One of them decided, for the fun of it, they were going to get magnets put underneath the fingertips.
I've talked about this before.
Well, yeah, I didn't know this existed. Turns out I know someone else that has them in their fingertips now.
So weird.
But I was like, what's the point? And they're like, well, it's kind of cool. Like if you're searching through like a wall, you can try to feel some of the wiring behind there. I was just like, what are you?
You can feel any magnetism anywhere nearby you.
Yeah.
If you're working with small like screws and stuff like that, you can use your finger to pick them up.
Yeah.
Which that's the most useful thing. If you're building PCs all the time, it's
That's
small enough that
terrifying.
I don't think it messes with electronics, but it'll pick up screws and stuff.
So they also
That gets too close to body modification for me.
It is body modification.
Well, that's the thing is like the fascinating things that they were working on doing to themselves.
Yeah.
I felt was like I feel like
I think the issue is with basically any sort of body technical modification, like modifying your body with technology like that. The issue is that the benefit you gain from it is not that great compared to the issues you run into with it, which is possibly it being rejected, which a little magnet in your finger is not going to be. But when you're talking about adding like technology to you, rejection is a huge problem. You'll never have a quick time going through airport security.
Yeah.
Like that's what I've heard. A lot of people who have because a lot of people, I keep touching my finger. A lot of them have it put in their middle or ring finger on their left hand. It'll set off the any metal detectors, and you've got to explain it. And on top of that, the magnet loses its magnetism after 4 or 5 years.
Well, the thing that was like fascinating to me was like when I walk, because you walk in here and it's just this open garage, and you see like they had the stereotypical like whiteboard, and they had all these ideas of different things they want to try, and like I couldn't help but ask myself, like, how safe are you? Are you guys legit, or is this just like is this a hobby for you on the outside? And they're like, yeah, it's a hobby for us. It's like, but do you ever worry like do you ever worry about where the dangers of this, of what could happen to you? And like, well, I mean, that's the whole point of being a bioengineer. It's like, no, it's not. It's like, no, it's not. But like they were selling me on some of these things that they wanted to do. And like one of the things they thought is like for replacement kneecap surgeries, like basically creating like these metal kneecap things to go over. I was like, okay, well that kind of already exists.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, but you could put technology in them in some way. And they were like thinking of different ways, like you could help scan your joints. Why? I was like, okay, I'm intrigued. Like I couldn't help it. But like the one they were ideas like, well, creating a better version of a mechanical heart to put in your body.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you're never going to do that to yourself. First of all,
Well,
no one in their right mind.
It's one
is
of
gonna
those
try
things
it.
where it's like they test it on people who are like, my heart's about to explode and there's nothing else that can be done about it. Might as well try. If I'm going to die anyway, might as well try this.
Yeah,
new
you're
technology.
right.
Well, you
but
do
most of
animal
those
testing
people
first and
are
everything.
approved to do this. These
You're
people
right.
are crazy. but I was just so fascinated by the stuff they were doing that I was like, I'm joining this ragtag
All right, so
group.
wait, so let's talk about this. What is the limit of what you would try if it started becoming mainstream?
Dude, I jumped real hard in with it. With
You would put the magnet in your finger. I would do that if it was a little more mainstream. I think
one of the things they were like an idea is like
you wouldn't do anything like that. I
I'm
draw the
not-
line at like putting a computer in my head.
So I jumped it. So they had an idea of putting like a chip that scans like your brain function, and like you put it underneath your head, and then like your hair would grow over. I jumped into that one. I was like, I'll do it.
Yeah, no,
if you can show me the benefits, and they listed the benefits, but now I made the smart thing. Back then I thought I made a dumb career move, but now I know it was probably the best idea I ever had. But I had told one of my teachers at college, or I was talking to a bunch of students, like a bunch of my classmates, and the teacher had pulled me aside. He's like, Ryan, don't mess with these people. I'm like, but I was like, Mr. You don't understand. It's awesome. He's like, no. And he like got real. The first time I ever had a teacher pretend to be my dad, just told me, he's like, no, you're going to get yourself killed. You don't know what you're doing. He's like, these people don't know what they're doing. He's like, you're going to get involved and they're going to use you as a lab rat. And then someday you're going to die. I'm like, fine.
But what if
I'll
those
never
last
talk
two
to
things
him.
are just unrelated? Like you have a car accident later in life, are they going to blame it on them?
I mean, he probably would. He's
But, like-
one of the malfunction, like the thing in my head malfunctioned, and I
Another
had a
body mod
seizure.
thing I don't think I would. I can actually tell you I would never do is, no matter how good prosthetics and mechanical body parts get, never ever will I purposely amputate a limb to get a better robot limb.
Oh, no,
like
I
they do.
wouldn't.
That's what always bothered me about Alita Battle Angel. Is it's so clear that all these people did that on purpose?
Yeah.
Like got rid of most of their body to replace it with machinery? Absolutely not.
Well, that was
I
one of the
might.
things that I enjoyed about like being able to improve upon prosthetics is that like these people don't have another way of doing
Exactly. in those cases,
you
that's a
can
good way
you
to
can
do it.
really help someone
Yes.
by making it better.
But I think the issue comes in when people are purposely amputating perfectly
Oh,
good arms
100%.
and legs.
But that's one of those things where it comes down
So-
to culture.
I want to go back. I want to swing back to the prosthetics for people who actually lost limbs. Obviously people are doing a ton of work on prosthetic hands, but like, how much more is there you can do with prosthetic feet? Like, it seems like the spring ones are pretty much.
There's-
everyone who
oh,
has
man.
those seems.
I'm
There's a lot of
dude,
little muscles. in your
Seriously,
feet.
take 5 minutes and do research on it. It's insane the things that it's insane where we are because look, and the way you say like you don't want purpose body modification like that. Unfortunately, that's the way we're going. That's the world. That's the world. That's the future of the world because this stuff is offering ways to take away the things with our as people call our bodies temples. These are very weak.
But that's not what
bad
I'm. What I'm
temples.
asking is more like, what more would you really need to do with a leg? Because like, for example, I have a relative who.
I wanted to have it bladed.
For what? I have a relative who lost most of his lower leg in an accident when he was a young child. And I didn't find out he had a fake leg until years and years later. Because he was it just didn't affect his life. All it was, I mean, I don't think it had any ankle movement or anything like that, but he used it just fine. So it's like, what more do you need to do with a leg?
Well, there
think
is
the
quality
reason-
of life.
I think the thing that they want to do with where prosthetics wants to go is instead of you having to make it cheaper because prosthetics right now are very expensive for people to maintain. But also it's really one of the bioengineers was on like an interview I was watching. They want it to be that if in some unfortunate mishap that you do lose a limb or like you lose your leg or even if you're born with like misshapen hands or stuff like anything disability like that, they want it that instead of you having to just be something that just pulls off that you just take off, it's something that's actually implanted on into your muscles.
There's
so
some
like,
guy who's like a
brain-
double amputee or something like that who does a ton of help with that, right? Where they've done the ones where the connection is actually fused into his bone and it comes out of his stump.
Yeah, they want. I mean, that's the natural path. I
yeah.
think the idea of like, if you go back to like anime stuff, that Full Metal Alchemist, like the idea, what these people would go through is when they would lose their limbs in war, they would go through this. They would have to knock everyone out because it's the most painful surgery in the world for these characters. But it's taking your actual nerve and at some point branching a connection between that and a wire that reads like the functions from your brain, and that's what they want.
I mean, I think the
it's a
issue with that
joint.
is nerves are really, really small, right? And so that's the issue is.
Well, that's the thing. Is like the future
doing
is
it in
like,
real life.
It's like one of the ways that they used automail, which is like the type of prosthetics these characters use in this show, is like they can take their arm out and it's a joint. There's it's just literally like a plug, like you would see like in a computer or something. And what it is they build the arms and they plug them in, and then there's this quick like pinch of pain because it's your joints matching with your brain.
Yeah.
And then after that, you can't feel pain or anything. But the reason they want to do it like that is because in theory, it would be so precise that you could pick up your phone and know how much pressure you're putting on it.
Yeah.
The prosthetics we have now, it's hard to do that.
Yeah.
And even like get the joints of a finger, because in some of them it's just like certain actions, but I can move my fingers up and down in circles and stuff.
Well, yeah, and you could pick up an egg without crushing it.
Yes.
I think that's a big test of prosthetics and robotics is picking up an egg.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of that does come with, like, when you play video games. I know both of you guys play video games. It's real easy to start to understand is you'll start to get a
48 hours
feel.
into Star Trek.
I'm
Online.
sorry, I think it'd be 250.
Oh my.
But you start to get a feel for the details and exactly how far you need to go and exactly
Yeah.
how far you don't, and you don't actually like you don't actually feel the controller, but you do feel up to the controller. And that's what you handle.
You make a really good point. Is that it's something I think I've talked about before, and it's something really hard for people who don't play game, like especially open like 3D games, to understand. Is the knowledge that it's a world around you, and that I can know that there's a ledge behind me, and jump backwards up onto it without even having to look at it. because I know that my surroundings there.
Yeah.
Whereas people who aren't used to that can't comprehend the whole like moving, because that's moving up, backwards, onto something you can't see all at the same time.
Yeah.
Which requires a lot of coordination.
So to tell a
But
story,
VR adds a new level that now VR can't. Sorry, Zach.
No, you're
I'll
good.
get you. But VR now brings in a new aspect because I play VR religiously now. Every day I'm on my VR.
You have the
headset.
new Quest or whatever.
Yeah, but like how far that technology has come to the point that now they do the camera. I don't even need the controllers. Now they have like the hand sense abilities. So like I can move my fingers and it detects that. So like it changes the game of like walking around, moving around and doing stuff. So, but what were you going to say?
I was gonna say like with that like that coordination bit that you were talking about. My girlfriend listens to every episode, so she's gonna love this. We decided we were gonna play Horizon Zero Dawn.
Good choice.
Great game. I love it. It's my second favorite game. And I wanted to share that moment with my girlfriend, and I let her play it. Well, my girlfriend's not very good at 3D worlds because she just doesn't play video games.
Yep.
And she starts jumping on the side of a mountain. I'm like, you need to go around it. She goes, no.
I'm going to jump over this mountain.
It took her an hour, but she did it. And I'm looking at him going, I don't understand how you did this.
She pulled the Skyrim moves.
She just
Have you ever done
jumped
that in
and
Skyrim?
jumped
You're just
and
like,
jumped.
I don't want to go around the mountain. I'm just gonna keep
I do
going.
it still.
I'm gonna keep going
I'll
around
play
it.
Star Trek Online or I'll play Destiny or any other game. I always try to take the straight path, no matter what it is. If it's a sheer face, I try to find places where the developers left spots big enough for me to stand on. I will go. I will take more time to go over this mountain than around it.
Killed me. Absolutely killed me.
No, I totally identify with her.
Like,
I would absolutely do the same thing.
because it's like, I absolutely love watching my girlfriend play games because she gets real excited about it. Like, I played God of War because like I actually played I played through on the hardest mode and beat it on the hardest mode, but I have her watch me as it went through.
Yeah.
Monster.
And like, I enjoy watching scenes, and then instead of watching it, I'll watch her because her reactions are so great when things happen. It's phenomenal. I do the same thing with TV shows. So like, if I've seen a TV series before, I'll say, hey, let's watch this. And then when I see moments that I know that like I enjoyed, I watch her to see what her reaction is of it. And it's really fun.
Yeah.
Like we just went through the Star Wars, like I just told you guys. We went through 4, 5, and 6, and then 1, 2, and 3.
Good choice.
And I absolutely loved watching it.
Good choice.
You know
of
what you should
order,
try
too.
is the machete order. Are you familiar with that one?
No, I'm not.
Machete order is watching Star Wars movies 4, 5, 2, 3, 6.
4, 5, 2, 3, and 6.
Yes.
Not even watching episode
No.
1.
So
Why?
here's the logic: is that because either order you get, if you watch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it kind of burns you out with the total drop in special effects between 3 and 4.
First of all, you know the question I'm going to ask.
The issue with 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3 is it doesn't end with the big triumphant ending. It ends with the downer note of episode 3. But Machete Order, you watch it 4, 5 to see the story of Luke. And episode 5, you get the reveal that Darth Vader is his father. Flashback to episodes 2 and 3 of his life as a Jedi and turning into a Sith. And then you watch episode 6 and you get the triumphant conclusion. Now knowing Darth Vader's story.
Oh, I see.
That's the logic behind Machete Order.
Where does Spy Kid show up in this? Where's that order?
You can watch it after episode 6.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why it's called Machete Order.
I wondered where they were going with that.
Maybe
No,
because that's
that
the
makes
order of
sense.
the machete film, like how good they are. It's like in order you should watch them.
But you just skip
Don't watch
episode 1
one.
because in that format it doesn't matter.
That makes sense.
Kinda
But yeah,
interesting way to
if
watch.
But you
If
could. You could technically, though. Because when, I'll see, we're talking about Star Wars. I'm staying out. I said I wasn't going to do it this year. I'm done. Go on.
Yeah, Zach.
I was just gonna add, if you watch it on Disney Plus now, they added all the extra scenes, and I think that's, to be honest with you, it makes them
watch.
not the original ones. It's bad for the original ones, but the prequel trilogy, it actually does make it better
Yeah.
because I feel like there's details that made the story better.
Okay. I'll have to check it out.
The
See how it looks.
the other, like the going to the original trilogy and then adding, like, it's really really awkward, obvious new CGI against all
The
props
scene where
that
Han
were
and,
made.
and Jabba speak in the first one.
Yeah, it's
To be
super-
fair, that one,
super
Jabba
weird.
was totally different when they filmed
the
it.
new added scene of Greedo talking back to Han
McClunky.
Solo. McClunky.
Yeah, like it's so weird.
And it stands out because it's such a crisper shot than everything else.
It also doesn't even sound like it's like the sound is recorded at the same time period.
It was weird.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was funny though, like watching it with my girlfriend. She loved 4, 5, and 6. We got like halfway through 1, and she was like, "It's still Star Wars."
Yeah.
And then like we got onto 2, and she's like, "I hate it." She's like, "What is
2
going
is
on
just
here?"
so badly paced.
Well,
Like,
one of the things that I actually a new critique that I never thought of.
Ryan is really just totally removed from this.
He's doing good.
He is.
So like I'll do this last bit and then we'll move on. But I think that the thing that bothered me even more now watching it as an adult, it's like you go from people talking normal to each other, where Padme's like, she's like, "I love you, but we can't do this," and Hayden Christensen's like, "Wherefore art thou in thine light somewhere Padme breaketh thine heart." It's like I'm watching it again. I'm like, this is now I understand why everyone went after Hayden Christensen. Now that I'm older and I can critique it even more, it's like what are you talking about? Like we can't live like this.
She also wanted him.
You've torn. It's like I get what you're going for, but you can't jump back to Shakespearean times to say your lines and then come back.
She says she doesn't want it, then immediately has a dinner scene where in that black dress. Come on.
Could you just picture Anakin just sitting there being like, to be or not to be? That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against the sea of troubles, and by opposing end them, to die, to sleep no more, and by a sleep to say we end the heartache and the thousand natural shocks. Blah, 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 blah.
Nay, Luke, I am thy father. Nay.
To be honest with you, I could imagine that exact scene that Padme looking at it going, "But we would be living a lie." And then it's like, where did we just go? We just went from.
Didn't they do that? Like Star Wars, told in the style of Hamlet or something like that.
In Shakespeare, yeah. Yeah, you can buy all.
But
it's only the original trilogy.
So it is the actual stories of those movies.
Yeah, that's where that picture of like, "Nay, Luke, I am thy father."
Oh.
That comes from
an actual
that
thing.
book.
Oh, it does?
That's in the book.
I didn't realize
I
that
thought you
was...
made that up on your own. That was great.
No, that's like the meme in the picture of him falling off. That's in the book.
That's funny.
And it's funny too is that you could get the complete works of Shakespeare written in Klingon. All because in one Star Trek movie, a Klingon made the offhand comment that you haven't experienced Shakespeare until you've read it in the original Klingon.
I'm gonna see if I can get in contact with her again. But my roommate from college, his sister, just for the fun of it, had no reason to, doesn't really watch Star Trek or anything, decided that she was going to learn the whole Klingon language, and she actually can speak it fluently.
Really?
I kid you not.
I mean, why not? I've thought about doing it, but I'm like, I don't think I'm ready to jump off that nerd diving board.
For her, at least, this is one of the things that made me like, wow, you're amazing, is that I think she told me the reason she did it is like she wanted to learn a language, but she didn't want to learn anything anyone else knew.
Well, you know what's funny is now you can learn High Valyrian and Dothraki too. They're complete languages.
Huh. Really?
Yeah, but what's funny is that Tolkien, well known for being a linguist and making the Elven languages and stuff like that, none of his languages are complete languages. All they are translations of English words. There's no grammar rules for it, which is what these fake languages need, are grammar rules, which Klingon, Dothraki, High Valyrian all have.
You know what we should do? We should make
That's so weird.
We should aim, the three of us, for the next 2 years to try to learn one of these languages.
I'll learn Klingon.
And then speak a whole podcast in that language.
That'd be funny. Kapla.
See, I don't know what you said.
Hold on.
I'm not even sure exactly what it
I need a
translates to from
subtitle
Klingon.
button.
You guys need to understand. When I was in high school, I was so bad at learning a new language. I could speak the new language, but I couldn't spell or comprehend the new language, that I had to go to sign language.
We should.
Now, note, I actually really enjoyed sign language because I actually have used it in my real life outside.
You talk with your hands though, so it's probably real easy for you.
Oh, sign language is phenomenal.
But it's real easy because you talk with your hands. People that talk with their hands definitely can learn sign language.
Well, in the best part was
83% likely to.
Duolingo can teach you
just
Klingon.
throw out a number.
No.
But no, there's
yeah, I did. I made that up.
A buddy of mine, his aunt's deaf, and when we all went to the beach together my senior year of high school, we met a deaf family that was there, and we sat and talked with them for an hour, and it was cool because they were we didn't think that we were going to be able to communicate with anybody. And like because like they have their notepads that they write down every time they go somewhere, and like they were excited that they just got to sit and just have a conversation. I think I said talk to people, but yeah, you know what I meant. I don't know why Ryan's laughing about this.
I'll see if I can find it. But do you ever see the meme? It was like when two deaf kids are in an argument.
They just turn around.
It's the Naruto scenes where they're using like the.
Oh yeah, they're just quickly like throwing their hands around. That's funny.
That's such a great gift.
You
I'm
guys-
sorry. When you said that, all I could think of was like them all sitting around at a table and they're all trying to talk over each other.
So
Patak translates to fool, coward, or dishonorable person. Used to describe someone who lacks warrior spirit.
that's funny.
So I forgot about this word. Nochnek is like, hi, how are you? Or technically it translates to what do you want? But is typically used as a greeting.
I feel like this
Try
is the way
saying that with me. Nochnek.
Knock-neck.
Yeah.
I feel-
Very, very guttural language.
I was gonna say like I feel like this is like the language of how like I talk to people. Where like I show up and I'm just like, tell me, be specific. Tell me exactly what it is you want.
Yeah.
like
The kid that
it's
wants
like,
you to
it's
do
like,
that.
let's just cut straight to the chase, and people are like, what is wrong with this guy?
What do you want me to do? And then you do it. The contract is fulfilled.
Yeah.
Then you leave.
Yeah, like that's exactly how I talk to people, and it's hilarious because like we'll start talking. And
Are you learning
Ryan
Klingon right
found
now?
this video.
No, the meme with the two deaf kids.
Having an argument.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
do you guys
Now
actually-
we're talking about visual stuff in other languages. We need to move on to some other topic.
I was gonna say, do you guys actually want to hear a deaf joke?
Yeah.
So
I thought he was just not going to say anything.
so there's this deaf guy and his wife.
What?
There's this deaf guy and his deaf wife.
What?
Or now I pick up on what you did to me.
Go on.
But they're going to this convention. They get to their hotel room, and the husband and the wife get there. They put their stuff in, and the husband realizes he needs to go back out to the car to go get something. So he goes and he gets it, and he realizes he doesn't have his room key. Well, he also forgets what room he's in. But so he goes back out to the car and he honks the horn.
Okay.
The only people that aren't going to come to the window to figure out what's going on is his wife, because
Yeah.
she can't hear.
Oh.
So whoever doesn't look out the window, he knows what room to go to.
I don't know about you, but I can't tell what rooms of the hotel it is from the outside. I have a very bad sense of how buildings make sense geometrically inside versus outside.
Think about a motel.
Geometrically.
Geometrically.
So, think more about a motel where it's like
Okay.
it's like the door and the window are right there.
Okay. I didn't know deaf people were allowed to go on vacation together.
This is what happens. See, you tell me.
I really expected
What?
a better reaction to that.
I was going through my processing phase where I'm like, logical statement, like correct. Like, did it make sense? No. How to respond? And I'm like going through all my responses, and I'm just like, I can't find
You're
one.
just sitting there thinking, computing.
You get mad at me when I don't write show notes, but see what happens when I write show notes? We don't even talk about any of it.
I don't have the show notes pulled up, which is the
because
issue.
we don't have any real show notes.
We
They're on my
don't.
phone.
Ugh.
I'm enjoying this conversation.
It is fun.
I don't
What-
care.
what- I
We're
forget
no
what we-
longer a pop culture podcast. This is
We
welcome
are.
to my podcast.
It's
that I
ri- oh,
created,
it's yours
The
now.
human conversation.
Conversation.
where we talk about machinery and
That's
deaf
what my
people.
podcast. Hey, the human conversation podcast.
I just want to make it
good.
clear that I did just make a joke claiming that deaf people weren't humans, and nobody caught it.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you're not.
I'm probably not. You're right.
I've come to the.
I thought we should call the podcast Three Guys and Two Cats.
Oh, I have to get up.
No, you don't.
Yeah, my cats are destroying my office. I can hear.
I mean,
them.
one of them is.
I
think
thought
what
you wanted that stuff destroyed in there.
No, well, I do want it gone. But
The cats eat it, and
I
I think
don't-
it's just one cat.
oh, it's May. She does it on purpose. She goes in there.
No, she's here.
Well, it's because she's probably carrying a miniature in her hand, so she can eat the paint.
She doesn't have hands.
It's not lead based, is it?
I one time caught her licking out of my
No, it
lip.
should be acrylic.
Yeah, when I was painting,
Enamel paint. Have you tried to use enamel paint?
no,
It's such a pain in the ass.
dude. I just now
She has
upgraded.
nothing.
I just now upgraded to using inks.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to
like-
use inks.
So you're tattooing them now?
No,
I gotta laugh.
We gotta get Zach a tattoo.
I gotta laugh out of both Matt and Ryan, and I'm gonna try and change that subject as fast as possible.
We need to get him a tattoo.
what would you get a tattoo of if you could get a tattoo?
Nothing. I don't like needles.
I don't either.
Well, and to be honest with you, it's not even
Ryan
the
will
needle
agree with me.
itself.
The thing with tattoos is it hurts a little bit for the first 5 minutes or so, and then the buzzing gets really annoying, and that's all you like.
Well, no, it's
that feeling of your skin just getting like tapped on and buzzed. Like if you ever had a barber doing a close cut, the buzzing just gets annoying against your skin. Same thing with tattoos. The pain goes away.
Well, my thing. With,
I mean, for me, I was so used to them. By the time I got my last tattoo, I fell asleep during it. I fell asleep during my last tattoo.
see, my problem is like my issue with needles is like the pain doesn't bother me. It's the feeling of the needle under my skin that bothers me. So like
it's not that.
it's
not that
I
feeling.
had to do blood work, and I get my arm ready and I stick it out and I'm starting to like breathe heavy, and the nurse is like, "You all right?" I'm like, "No, I'm good. Just stick it and get it over
They're
with."
really
I was like, "I'm gonna freak
different
out as soon as
feelings.
it's under there."
Getting a tattoo almost feels like you're scratching your skin really hard. It does it because it's not the needle's not going very deep,
I
and
always
it's almost dragging across your skin.
I always deemed it as like a bunch of bee stings real quick, but
It's not even that bad.
Yeah,
it does just feel like you're scratching yourself.
I'm
You
just-
get-
I'm not
scratching
interested in tattoos.
once you do it, you get so used to it, it doesn't even matter
Yeah.
anymore. But
Just don't drink beforehand.
yeah,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
don't
Bleed a little bit.
Yeah, blood thinner.
unless
make
you're
you bleed
me.
more.
Unless you're me, then you bleed all the time.
You hemophiliac?
Well, you know how like a lot of my tattoos don't have color in them. Like
Yeah.
a lot of them are unfinished with color. That's because the tattoo artist that was doing them, like we would start coloring them in, and like my skin would bleed so much that he couldn't finish
just
the
couldn't
color.
finish
So
it,
eventually it got to the point. It's like I can't like one tattoo. This one. See, like the ones that are on my forearm that are like the Harley Quinn. They're like the Harley Quinn diamonds, and then with like the green vine to like represent like Harley and Poison Ivy's relationship.
Yeah.
That one just it's so small with the colors, but that was 6 sessions
Yeah.
because the blood he would do one diamond like a color, and then I would bleed so much it would push the color out, and then I have to go back and redo it.
Then redo it.
Well,
Man,
I've
that's
had
terrible.
the thing with mine. I have a tattoo that's a 3-leaf clover with the Italian flag colors inside of it because I'm Irish Italian. The green
I was
and the
gonna
red
say,
are
that
still
seems
fine.
blasphemous.
The green's fading a little bit. There was originally white in the middle, and it's really not there anymore.
Well, yeah, white doesn't stay very well.
It doesn't. And I found this out too because I was taught you chat with your tattoo artist as you get tattooed, and I'm like, oh, so I imagine if you're black, you'd get like white tattoos would show up better. She's like, nope, because if you think about it, the light has to go through your skin, hit the tattoo, and come back out again.
Yeah.
On you with white skin, it has a much easier time doing that. But if you're black, it's got to go through dark skin twice to show the white. So white tattoos barely show up.
That's why mainly they only get like darker colored tattoo, like black tattoos.
Because the
Like,
other colors
black
just
ink.
don't show up that well on black skin.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I mean,
And it makes sense.
Science is
I never
great,
thought
man.
about it, that it's not on the surface of your skin. It's under the skin.
It's
do
actually
you think
under.
do you think you'll ever go and get some of your tattoos removed?
I don't think I'll get them removed.
Or
I don't mind any of mine.
Hmm.
I don't know. I've thought
there's-
about going to get more, but I don't have anything that really jumps out at me.
There's nothing I'm passionate enough about.
I always
to
said
do it.
that. But then that's when I got my first tattoo. I'll show it to you after the show. I have a shoulder tattoo. The big it's a big Rebel Alliance symbol with just a black fade from skin to black on it. And I got it because I wanted to get a tattoo, and also some of my earliest memories are sitting with my dad watching Star Wars, and so Star Wars has always had a really special place in my heart because of that. And so it was a natural tattoo to get.
Makes sense. I don't know. I'm not a very emotional person. I'm very logical, and like that causes a lot of problems. But that is one of those things where it's like I don't get emotionally attached to things to the point where I'm like, you know what, I want to put that on my body.
Yeah.
Like like to me, it's not worth it. It's like I have the memories. Like I keep my mementos, and
I took a break from getting it. I took a break from getting from tattoos. One, because I have so many tattoos that need to be finished right now anyway. But also, I realized at some point I was like, I'm just getting tattoos because I like getting tattoos, and I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't like. I love all my tattoos.
Well, but here's the thing.
But I don't. I'd be happy if some of them were gone.
Here's the thing that a lot of people are either won't tell you or are too scared to tell you. So it's okay to get a tattoo just because you like the design. Mm-hmm. Like people will be like, "Oh, what kind of meaning does it have?"
No.
And they'll get all weird if you say, "Oh, I just thought it looked cool." That is a perfectly valid reason to get a tattoo.
Some of my tattoos are I call them bad tattoos because they look really. I think they look bad, but I love them because they look bad. Like
Yeah.
I love bad. That's my one thing. I do love bad tattoos.
Well, and you know where you'll
people
find bad tattoos the most is on tattoo artists' thighs.
yeah.
Oh, I was going to say
you know
spring
why?
break because they have to practice on someone.
Yep, and that's the easiest place to reach is your
Yeah,
own thigh.
I used to work with a guy that did that, and he has a bunch of flowers on his leg, and he's like, "That's how I learned. I started doing flowers on my own leg because you need to learn how to deal with skin, and skin doesn't.
Yep.
You can't find something that actually
Well,
acts
they
like
make
skin.
fake skin, and you can use pork, but they're not exactly the same.
That's the thing.
and
It's that
different parts,
fine
and
detail.
different parts of your body, the skin behaves differently.
The last tattoo I was gonna get, and I stopped before I got it, but I was gonna get. I didn't even know it was a Bible quote at the time, but it was God's battle axe and weapon of war. I was just like, that's such
That's
a
from
cool
the
quote.
Bible?
I want to. Yeah, apparently it's a Bible verse because I read it. I read it somewhere.
I
on the
feel like
internet.
there's more context to that verse.
There
There definitely is more context to it.
Do you think
So what was
anyone's
it?
ever gotten the entire Bible
God-
tattooed on them? It'd have to be really small print.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're up 1,000 pages. Like I don't think there's anybody big enough to make that happen.
You have to make it really small.
Watch My 800-Pound Life, and I bet you'd be surprised. God's battle
Chapter of
axe and
James is
weapon
under
of war.
here.
God's battle axe.
The reason how I found out it was a Bible quote is young Jamie from Joe Rogan podcast. They were talking about the quote because they found it on another. Do you remember that one, the one crazy doctor woman that was talking real about the code? Was like a witch. She was a witch talking about how she was going to cure COVID. I don't know what
no
her name
idea.
is, but that was on her Twitter thing, and I just happened to
Weird.
hear them talking about it on it. So I was like, hey, I saw a meme with that, and then that's where it got popular, is because I guess of the Joe
Yeah.
Rogan thing. But young Jamie said because Joe Rogan was like, I think I need to get that tattooed too. I was like,
Yeah.
I agree, and then
But like,
they were like, it's a Bible quote.
but yeah, like the other tattoo, the Irish Italian one, is because my heritage is pretty important to me. Like, so
Was that true? Is it a Bible quote? Because that's what they said it was.
I am.
I saw you were looking up, but
so
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
that's another
looking
thing
into
that
it, so-
you can do is something that is part of your heritage. Or
still a super cool quote.
yeah,
I do like tattoos like yours. The one like a lot of yours have a lot of meaning to. Top
They
Shelf
do.
doesn't. Does
it doesn't.
That
That
was
one
just
was
a
just
random
the
one?
one I liked best because I forget if I've told the story. I have on my arm. I have one that it's a coin that says Top Shelf on it. It's a pretty simple tattoo. There was a bar here in Pittsburgh that was having like their 3rd anniversary of existing, and part of it was that they hired a local tattoo shop to bring in a couple artists and have a full setup, and it was like a $20 cover, but you could sign up to get a free tattoo from them, and it was a sheet of paper had a handful of choices on it.
Yeah,
And
I remember.
my buddy had submitted a couple designs, and so I went and paid the cover, and we were there early because again one of my buddies had designed one of the tattoos on there, and so we all got in line and did them.
There's a universe there in.
And it describes me really well.
Well, that's why I thought it was always intentional, but
Yeah, it partially. I mean, it was. That was why I picked it on there. I'm like, that was after my stage of like trying to have deprecating humor, and after I realized that I do better with the arrogant style humor. I'm like, that's me.
Rob and I confirmed that there actually is an alternate universe where I got a tattoo from Jeff Goldblum.
How?
So do you know? Here in Pittsburgh we have Jeff Goldblum Day.
Yeah.
So the last year that was passing while Rob and I were dating, we were going to go down and celebrate it.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out Jeff Goldblum just randomly showed up and he gave a guy a tattoo of his face. They let him tattoo his face on someone. And I thought, and how we figured out that it was Jeff Goldblum down there is not only from an article that he was down there, but on Jeff Goldblum's Disney Plus show that came out when Disney Plus launched, he actually had the episode where he shows up and shows him tattooing the guy.
That's amazing.
And I thought, and the reason we didn't go is we decided instead of going down to Pittsburgh for Jeff Goldblum Day, let's just watch a bunch of Jeff Goldblum films. Now I feel like I made some bad choices in life.
You'll have to try again next year.
Yeah, go down every time.
Are you gonna do that if we become famous? Is tattoo our fans?
If they ask for it.
That is
Sounds
so
like a
weird.
bad idea.
It's not. I mean, I'm not gonna have like. They're not gonna. If they come to me expecting me to do a mural of my face, it's not gonna happen. But I'll
Yeah.
draw a stick figure of myself.
There we go.
That's how you know you're.
We're
a true
running
fan
high
of
on
Ryan.
time though. We're running low on time.
So to
I love
circle
how-
back to the quote,
Yes.
it's in Jeremiah, so it's Old Testament. So
that
I'm
seemed
not-
Old Testament.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Well, in that's one of those things where like in context, there's also things in Ephesians that are roughly the same, but what it's getting at is that like instead of, I know I'm not gonna quote it correctly, so I apologize, but it's instead of fighting like with swords and swords, you're gonna be fighting principle with principle, and you're gonna be fighting against power.
In the war
In-
of principles, I am God's battle axe and weapon of war.
Yeah. So in
I don't know why school superintendents are fighting, but
Well, that's funny.
That's stupid.
But yeah, that's a big
I had
difference
to reach
between
for that one.
between the New and Old Testament.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, oddly enough, that's a big thing with tattoos too. Is that it's cultural law, not moral law.
Yeah.
A lot of people pull out Leviticus, but Leviticus is a lot of cultural law, which
Yeah.
is for Israel as an actual state was supposed to follow because they were supposed to be separate. But with the coming of Christ, that makes it different
yeah,
because now
didn't
you
he
can
literally say is that all those old covenants are done? I'm here to
well,
fulfill them.
it's 50-50. It's one of those things where if it's cultural law, it probably doesn't apply, but there's still principle in it. Like for example, like you have to have a fence on your roof, which seems
What?
sounds really stupid, but the principle of it is back then there was a lot of flat roofs that you would get on top of. So what it's saying is you're responsible for the protection of the people around you
Yeah.
on your
Oh, that
property.
makes sense.
Like you're responsible for your property safety, so you can extract the principle out of that, which is
Yeah.
still a moral thing. So you should still be looking for those
Yeah.
things.
Do you want to know something really that still back on tattoos?
okay.
Did you know I have a tattoo? I have a Joker tattoo that the Snyder Cut Joker. What's his name? The guy who plays.
Jared Leto.
Yeah, Jared
The
Leto.
one we were talking
stole.
about like an hour ago.
Yeah, he copied my tattoo design. Do you know that?
I know. I know
got-
your tattoo.
I got this. I got like a Batman tattoo on my chest that breaks off into Haas down my left arm, and it's unfinished as well because I can't take yellow. I can't take yellow, but it has all the Haas. But then it also has all of the Bat family symbols down my arm.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then one day I just was watching the Suicide Squad as it was being tattooed on me, and I noticed that on his chest he has the Haas. I was just like,
Yeah.
Jared Leto just stole my tattoo design.
How dare he? You should demand royalties.
I should, but
Thank you guys for listening.
Yeah.
yeah,
It was good.
that's the
It's a good
tattoo I'm
one.
gonna get covered.
Thank you guys for listening.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, bye.
Oh no, that's what I'm asking. Is that's a tattoo you're gonna get to cover it? Is thank you.
Thank
guys
you for listening.
That's what it
Yeah.
sounded like.
That's a tattoo on my arm. Thank you for listening.
You should get on one forearm at Red Steak Ryan, and on the other one on Twitter and Twitch.
I will.
And then when people ask where they can find you,
Just cross your arms.
just cross your arms.
like what's the wrestler? The wrestler that was straight edge.
Yeah.
What's his? I don't.
I
think his
forget. I know
tattoos.
someone else has done that gimmick, which is where I thought of it, but
Well,
That's funny.
I think I decided that my next tattoo is going to be something to do with like this show.
Yeah.
Like I would like what I would love
do
to
the line
do.
art box.
Well, I would love to do our like the box, but I want our faces in it and somehow. So
Like,
like
I'll tattoo my face on
I
you.
was not
I was
like
gonna say,
but
take the
like a
picture that we just
I
took.
want a cartoon version of ourselves.
I kind of
like
want to do that too.
unboxing the box.
I
with
kind of
that
want to
tattooed on me.
commission like cartoon versions of us.
We should. I had to cancel our thing with like the person that was redoing our logo.
I
had
figured.
to cancel that. Yeah,
'Cause I haven't heard anything about
I
it.
forgot to tell you about that. Yeah, I had to cancel with them because they sent 3. Well, so they promised they had like a standard that they promised, and they showed me like a rough sketch of the standard of what it was going to look like. I was like, well, okay, I like where we're going, and then I got the other I got the 3 final pieces, and they looked god awful.
You got to show me.
Yeah, well, I'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll find them in my emails and I'll give them to you guys. But Like the one of them looked like it was made in MS Paint, just like a professional MS painter.
Oh,
And I asked, I was like, the one that I saw, it looked good. He's like, yeah, that was a drawing on like a pen and paper. I was like, well, okay, what happened between that? And then like she explains, like, well, I do this for fun, like a freelance fun, and I don't have one of those drawing things for your thing. I was just like, you were in the wrong business.
Especially because one of those cost like $60. It doesn't have to be the one with the screen on it. Like, it took me maybe an hour or two to figure out how to draw correctly with the one that's just a little tablet.
Well, especially like I was going to give her $150 for it.
Yeah,
I was like,
there's no way.
So I was like, all right, well, we're not, I don't want your business.
That reminds me of that Tosh bit. It's like, in my brain, the painting is perfect, but as soon as my hand hits canvas, I develop Parkinson's.
Yep.
Yep. Anyway, thank you guys all for listening. I haven't said this in a while, but be sure to tell your friends about our show because, word of mouth is huge for small podcasts.
Our ad got like 1,000 engagements.
Cool.
1,000 people clicked on a thing. I don't know if that meant
1,000 people
translated
clicked on a
listens.
thing.
sounds like we're not doing well, we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it later. If you want to find our show, you can go on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pop Culture Unboxing. If you want to find me, you can go on Twitter, Matt Ross VO. I just made a funny new comment last night where I said that if GameStop stocks plummet following its meteoric rise surprised you, trading might not be for you. Which is true.
I laughed.
Everyone expected it to keep going up. I'm like, if I had the money, I would have bet everything I had on that stock falling within the week. Guess what it did?
Fell.
It fell
Wait.
That's
hard.
because
You're telling me that if you
one's holding
artificially pump up a stock's price, it'll go down?
Believe it or not, it will do that pretty shortly after. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe it.
I can't either, but
What's it at now? Do you know?
$80, I think. Which is still above where it used to be. But
the
it's
thing
far
is-
lower than it was.
That's
a day
the
or two
thing. Is
ago.
like everyone that was on Wall Street Bets since the weekend. There's no more trading on the weekends. Everyone that was with the meme decided they didn't want to be with the meme anymore because they were like, "Wow, I just became a millionaire overnight. I'm just gonna sell all my stock."
And there was all these comments of people who were all shocked that it happened. I'm like, I bet you anything, none of these people were trading before a week ago. Like,
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
They learned the lesson. They got greedy. I had to tell my sister that she made some money on Dogecoin, and it was still pretty high. And I told her, pull out your money right now.
Yeah.
No one ever lost money by taking profit. And she's like him hawing about it. The next morning, the price got cut in half.
Yeah.
Speaking
everyone
of,
sold.
I just bought a bunch of Dogecoin.
What price?
Just because it's like 3 cents.
Okay, yeah.
Like,
Because if
I
it goes up
cheap.
1 or 2 cents, sell it.
I want to
Because
say
it'll go back down to 3 or lower.
I want to say the final thing. I don't know if it's appropriate, really, but that someone just because they were mad at Robinhood because they locked people from buying it, someone paid one of those like air banners on a plane that says like "suck my nuts, Robinhood," and he's like, and he put in the thing is like, I paid them extra money to circle the Robinhood offices. Also, I don't live in San Francisco, so if someone just takes some photos for have fun, and then looked at that, it's like whoa.
Did someone take photos?
Yeah, there's so many photos of it.
Oh, that's
But yeah, he's just like, also, I don't live in San Francisco, so have fun taking photos of that.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
They took so much heat for it and then tried to give like
Well, also-
some explanation of why they did it and then claimed they weren't working for the hedge funds.
This is how you also knew it was going to go down, is because it's all the people that they all admitted they sold their stock, and they said they took some of the money. One dude took some of the money to pay for a banner to go to ride around Robinhood's offices, and then a bunch of other ones like they used it to buy a bunch of Nintendo Switches, this is the high point for me of the whole thing is everyone that did it to just attack these hedge funds then took the money and has all donated it back into children's hospitals. So like there's children.
That's cool.
One dude,
I
he
hope
went out
more
and
people continue to do that.
he bought a bunch of he went to a bunch of GameStops and bought like consoles and Switches and stuff and went and dropped them off at like a whole like wheelbarrow load of them. And, like
That's
he's
great.
walking them into like the children's hospitals.
We can talk more about that stuff next week because
Yeah.
I have a lot to talk about on that subject, but I want to
That
give
would
it
be
some more
great.
time to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, I mean we still got
Ryan,
another week.
where can they find you?
Red Steak Ryan everywhere.
Zach,
Little_leaf, LIEF.
and you've told me that the underscore is important.
It is important.
Okay.
Because I am not a middle-aged female Brazilian woman.
Also,
Very good.
if you like, I'm starting the setup now, but I have a big project coming up for miniature painting, and I'm either going to start posting photos of it on Instagram, but I'm working on how I'm going to stream it, but I think I'm going to try to stream the whole job. You want to see
And
me
that's
do?
Red Steak Ryan on Twitch.
Yes.
Maybe
That's
I'll come hang
awesome.
out with you in a voice chat or something like that while you're doing it.
That'd be great, man. I want us to
be
finish Lego Star Wars and finish.
Dude, it's so scary for me though.
Battle
The Lego
Block
Star
Theater.
Wars.
Well, yeah.
of
Well,
the
that's what's
music.
fun for it. It's just like if the comedy clips are just us constantly closing the game to stop the
theme
sound.
song's playing.
I do
It's
want to. We do need to
getting
keep doing
louder now, and
Battle Block
we're
Theater.
Getting softer now. Maybe that'll work, or maybe you guys will just make me look stupid on the podcast, and
are
then
you
you'll start
doing?
it now. I don't know. I was doing my best.
What do you
Okay,
I don't
bye
know what you're doing.
everyone.
Bye.
I love you.
Battle Block Theater. Woo.